Jacqueline Walker was a black woman, and she had long been accustomed to prejudice. As a successful lawyer, she knew that the world was not always fair, but that never stopped her. After winning another high-profile case, she decided to treat herself to a new car. She entered the dealership with confident steps. The spacious showroom gleamed with cleanliness, and the luxury cars stood in neat rows. Jacqueline approached the nearest salesman, but he did not even bother to greet her. When she stopped beside him, he lazily glanced over her, looked her up and down, crossed his arms, and smirked. "These cars cost much more than you think, ma'am. You don't have enough money. Don't waste our time." Jacqueline froze for a moment. Her face remained calm, but inside, rage boiled. She clearly understood that the reason for the refusal was not her financial means, but her appearance. No one at the dealership was bothered by the price of the cars when other clients came, but for her, a black woman, they suddenly became too expensive. A tense silence hung in the room. Some employees exchanged glances, but no one intervened. The salesman continued to look at her with an expression of superiority. Without saying a word, Jacqueline turned around and calmly left. The next day she returned. But this time she was not alone. Her husband was with her. Jonathan Walker was a tall, confident man. In his perfectly fitting suit, with expensive watches on his wrist, he immediately attracted the staff's attention. This time the salesman did not turn away or look at her with contempt. On the contrary, one after another they hurried to offer their services. The manager personally came out to greet them with a broad smile. But the very same salesman who refused to serve Jacqueline yesterday stood aside, noticeably nervous. He already understood that the situation had changed. Jonathan calmly inspected the cars, listened to the offers, then casually nodded and expressed his willingness to buy the most expensive model. The manager literally beamed with joy and hurried to arrange the deal. But his voice trembled when Jonathan stated his only condition: to fire the salesman who refused to serve his wife yesterday. The manager became noticeably nervous, but he had no choice. A few minutes later, the salesman was already packing his things. When Jacqueline and Jonathan drove out of the dealership in the shiny new car, the sun reflected off the mirrored surface of the hood. Jacqueline looked at her husband, smiled slightly, and leaned back in her seat, allowing herself to relax. The salesman's words from yesterday still echoed in her mind, but now they meant nothing.